Alright, I've ended that recording. New recording. I'm assuming all of you have, inspiration. It'll be up to you guys to remember that you have inspiration whenever you mess up a roll. Alright. I've basically already recapped it, in the video archives, but I'll just go ahead and say it. I'll recap this time. So, where we last left off with the party, you were, uh, Pyre came back from his little session with Runescar, and Ash was given a little tip from the House of Right to go to the administrative district to pick up the mission to the House of Steele. The mission that will lead them to the rumored mine, Iron Ridge Mine. Outside, they see a group of disorganized workers on strike for presumably better wages, better working conditions, etc., etc. They didn't seem to have a leader among them. As you guys approach, Stefan chucked about 100 copper coins into the crowd, and it just goes crazy. Ash Ash decided to tempt fate for 1 copper coin and dashed in to pick up one. Inside the building, you met Administrator Nikolai Goldsmith. He basically offered you the job to clear out Iron Ridge Mine, if there is anything. He's very doubtful that there are any monsters in there, than that the miners are just exaggerating. After some tense negotiations, Stefan used intimidation on Nikolai, and Ash basically just made his presence known. It convinced the man to pay everyone up front 50 gold pieces, plus a variable amount based off of what you kill. Inside the room were a bunch of slaves, all of them named Goblin. One of them broke a picture frame and gets hauled off to the basement. Zaliel was disgusted by the treatment of... now that... I can actually hear myself through your side now-ish. Why don't you just turn the volume down just a little bit? Not that much. Like, I can just barely hear myself. It's fine if I just hear hints of myself every once in a while, but it is tripping me up just a little bit. So, Zaliel was disgusted at the treatment of the slaves and offered to purchase them. Nikolai noticed what Zaliel was doing and pushed the price up to 12 gold pieces just to see if he was willing to spend it. And oh boy, he did. As Zaliel and Ash went to go pick up the slaves, the administrator basically makes his own comments about the workers striking outside. He states that those workers are content to sit around and complain and demand for better wages rather than, picking up the sword, doing mercenary work, or looking for other career opportunities. To him, it's confusing. To him, it's confusing. What value is freedom if you're out there starving to death? We move the camera back down to the basement. Zaliel and Ash go down there. Zaliel grabs 5 slaves when he only paid for 3. And Ash steals a pair of keys from the basement. At the very least...
Whip.
And a whip. At the very least, I know that Secret wanted to dissociate himself from the two of you, and I believe the rest of the party wasn't eager to associate themselves with you guys either. You guys reconnect. Zaliel explains himself and his actions. I was actually gone. I had a phone call, so I was gone for a portion of this, so I didn't know the full contents of that conversation. But you essentially talk about the short-sightedness of Zaliel's actions, that as well as the consequence of the actions, and the idea that while the party understands where Zaliel is coming from, you probably shouldn't, take justice into your own hands like this. That was the general gist of the conversation.
That was a secret and Pyre's stance. Some others had some other stances.
I don't remember the other stances. If they were important, then you can mention them right now.
Ash sided with me. Stefan was just explaining to Monica why, some people are just a bit different. And then that was pretty much it.
Okay.
It was one of those lecture instead of listen moments.
Why would I listen to someone beneath me?
I know. I love it. I love the way. I love the way you were like, I'm looking down, and then I'm looking down at you. It's like, thank you. That's a very nice.
Yeah. After that long talk where most of the party gave their opinions on that, the group smelled blood on the wind and stumbled across some dead miners hidden in the bushes. Ash goes absolutely feral at the sight of fresh meat, forcing Zorg to throw a net on him and sit on him for an extended period of time. Security basically bumps into the rest of the party, and based off your insight rolls, they seem to at the very least know that there were some dead bodies already here. And those dead bodies couldn't have been there for more than a few hours, definitely less than 24 hours. After leaving the security guards, Secret uses Reversal of Fortune to remove Ash's bloodlust for now, which results in a new breed of bloodthirsty squirrels.
Oh shit, new breed?
I mean, I'm just going to say that. Whether or not it actually leads to that, we'll see eventually later on the fate of that squirrel.
Demon squirrels everywhere.
And the party finished the session right in front of the entrance to the mines. And from the sounds of it, you're all expecting to find soul-eating demon worshippers in the depths of the cavern. Because, I mean, all the pieces line up. All of the pieces seem to be related to the House of Steele. All of these places are related to the House of Steele. It's all highly suspicious. Alright. But we return to the start of the beginning of the mines. If there's anything you'd like to do before you go in, you can feel free to do so now. If not, then I'll let you tell me if you're going to continue marching with your old march order, or if one of you is just going to waltz in first.
Let me
I
look
guess
back.
I'll waltz in first.
Pyre in the back. Everyone else where they want to be.
Zorg was at the front, so it... Alright. If no one else says anything, then I'm going to assume that you're still the same marching order. Zorg, Ash, Raphael, I believe it was Secret and then Stefan, and then Pyre.
Yep.
Alright. There's no, door covering the entrance of the mine. It's very much like a big open space. You can see various mine carts filled with all sorts of different crystals, and some carts filled with minerals, but it seems to be but it seems to be mostly like mana crystals is the main export from this mine. Just from a cursory look, you can see, you can easily see a couple of them seems to fizzle just a little bit. And I'm not going to tell you more about those crystals unless someone wants to examine them even more closely. But you do
All right.
see... Oh,
All I got to hear was something about something fizzle. You're saying it's stones?
mana crystals. Is there something wrong with your speakers? Ish?
No. Just a little bit of background noise over here.
Background noise. Okay. There are mana crystals in mining carts. Basically.
I'd like to go up to the mining.
You want to
Wanna
take a look
go
at the... Okay. You two both walk up to the mining carts. Are you going to pick one of the crystals up and examine it?
No, I'm just gonna grab a handful. Just grab a bunch and start shoving them in my pockets.
And I was actually thinking of doing this. How dark is it in here? By the way?
Yeah.
There are torches. There are torches along the sides of the wall.
Alright.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, well, I'd like to grab at least like 3 of those crystals and just Does the cart seem like it can move?
Yes. The cart seems... The cart... Actually, I think these would be off the rails right now. Yeah, these ones would be off the little rails that...
How heavy is this cart?
If you're thinking about lifting one of them, I don't think you would be strong enough.
If I gave him a hand, would we be able to? Or would we have to...
Are you just going to try to steal this entire mining cart?
Oh yeah, all of these crystals are ours. This is an explosive bomb we have in our hands.
So Pyre just face palms. While they're like going through this and like arguing, is there any witnesses?
You... how far is your dark vision again?
I think 60 feet. Let me double check.
Yeah.
And with my goggles,
see...
I got 60 feet as well.
You see... Pyre, like, you could blatantly see, like, off to the corner in one of the dark corners of the room, you can see a guy in armor who's just kind of looking at you guys as he sees Zorg and Ash both get to the side of the mining cart and just kind of try to pick it up.
Pyre just breathes in and breathes out and he says, guys, first of all, if you wanted to move the cart, we have a bag of holding. Secondly, I don't think we're being paid for manual labor. Can we just clear the mine?
I was just wanting to take the cart for a easier ride.
Yeah.
It might be fun.
Does it have brakes?
Yeah.
Alright, well, maybe that guard over there can explain it to you. And he nods his head towards the guy in the corner.
I'm gonna have to ask you guys to put those crystals back in that mining cart. The House of Steele gets a bit... Shoot, what would the word be? I had a word in mind, but now I don't want to say that word. I want to say a synonym of that. They're quite strict about quota requirements.
Indeed. If these were to make it to market, how much would the House of Steele be offering them for? Give me an estimate. I know it varies according to size. We're not talking coppers here.
Well, you see, this wouldn't be As far as I know, I don't think this is for, like, commercial sale. I think they actually use it for some of their construction projects.
Ah, turns
So
back towards the party.
it's a
Not
bit hard.
for sale. Not the reason why we're here. Let's move on. Do as the guard said.
You sure we can't have just one?
If you take one, how many miners will suffer for it? They'll be below quota. They'll be the ones who get blamed for the theft. And it will defeat the purpose of us being here to protect the miners.
Yeah, Secret shoots you guys a little glare and says, "Behave."
Fine.
Does a contract mean that little to you?
I just saw shine.
It's okay, Ash. I was gonna help y'all, but Seeker was holding me back for a second.
Secret glare gives you a glare.
Hey, this is improvement. This is learning. See, it's only been like an hour or 5 hours, and I'm already cured.
Empty the cart. Can I take the cart?
I'm going to have to ask the mercenary speaks up. I'm gonna have to ask you not to dump that stuff out. Please, if you don't want the House of Steele to press charges, I'd recommend you put those things back.
Do you have an empty cart in there? And I'd like to take a look around, use my
And
perception.
he says, "Look, buddy, carts are not for riding, they're for transporting goods. And besides, we don't have rails that go all the way down to the bottom of the mines. We only have them closer up here to the surface. So they wouldn't help you much anyways."
Here, no.
I'm gonna walk up to the cart now, and it just occurred to me, I'm not gonna pull out the refined mana crystal in front of this random guard, but I'm going to try and compare what's in the cart to what I have in like quality, basically.
Okay. Make an Arcana check.
Interesting.
I guess Arcana or Nature.
They're the same, I'm pretty sure, but let's see here. Arcana 1, Nature 1. Okay. Arcana for fun. 10.
At the very least, it does look a bit more unrefined. It definitely looks like it's got impurities in the crystal, kind of like unrefined ore, essentially. So whatever the refining process is, it probably would work out all those impurities. You also notice you also hear that small fizzle. In fact, Zorg and Ash, do you guys put your crystals back into the cart? Because that guy is going to be looking at you guys.
Did he see how many I actually grabbed? Does he have like a gesture of how many I grabbed? Because if he doesn't, then I'd like to try and keep one.
You don't know. You don't know
blessed.
how much how
How
he
shiny
saw.
are these crystals?
Well, they
They're
fizzle, so they make
quite dull.
noise. Alright, well, I'm just gonna throw them back. I'm pretty sure we're gonna find more along the
I will also put them back.
The guy eyes you both suspiciously. Now I want you to put all of them back.
I did.
I did as well.
Pyre shakes his head and he says, "If I know anything about these accomplishes, your job will be to frisk them when we come back up, not to frisk us before we go back down. Take them for their word going into the mine. It doesn't matter what's left there. Do not take them for their word when they leave the mine. Are we agreed?"
I fucking eye this guy, just glare at him a bit.
I mean, how much stuff do you have in that bag of holding, Ash? Like, is it gonna
All
take him
I-
a while to go through
Like-
that?
Like, the,
And
it would just be my weapons and maybe, like, 200 arrows that I can't keep in my quiver.
Literally start picking up rocks and stuff that thing.
I didn't
That
stuff
is
my
out of
bag
character,
of
by the way.
holding yet.
Okay. Alright, that was out of character. He's not asking you in character. And the guard says, yeah, alright, but, well, like I said, the House of Steele is fairly strict. If we're even 1 pound below each cart fill, then it could be problematic. So,
When are the carts weighed?
the carts are typically weighed back at the foundries over in Veer.
So it sounds like the problem that we're facing right now is why do they trust a lone guard to guard a cart this valuable?
Because normally there's more than one guard here. A couple of the others went out to patrol, and then we started hearing something about bloody murder.
Yeah, there was some bodies out front. You mind telling me about the schedules? When was the last time you had workers leave or come?
Workers leave or come. Work schedules. Workers work about 6 days a week, alternating schedules. Some of them don't have the same days off. And workers that leave, well, that's completely up to them. They can only leave when they are off the clock, and I'd suppose we had a few leave earlier today. Probably about, 4 hours ago? They're hoping to... Sounded like they were hoping to buy something from the commercial marketplace. Probably some food or some crap.
Did they take any valuables notice with them, or are they just just regular old workers?
They're regular old workers. All they took were their belongings and their money.
Well, we were supposed to report into. Is there? Or do you have like a boss or a guards captain nearby?
He wordlessly just throws a finger at the back, towards a door. He says, "Go in, go in. Don't worry. You'll likely meet the Overseer in just a little bit. He's typically around his office."
Thank you. One question before we go in, or unless anyone else has any other questions. How do you feel about the workers that work here? Those regular workers.
Hey, I only care about my paycheck, buddy. I don't care about theirs. As long as they keep working, there's no problems. If they don't want to work, well, they can leave.
But you wouldn't be, I don't know, interested in killing and robbing them for whatever reason. I don't know.
What exactly are you insinuating, buddy? You think I'm some common brigand?
I hope not. And if any of your co-workers or other guardsmen felt the urge to do that, you wouldn't join them, right?
What? Alright, buddy. I don't like what you're insinuating here. Look. We get paid a decent amount. Mercenaries have always been paid a decent amount compared to you common rabble. I don't see why any of us would get into that whole robbery business over a couple coins. Besides, these people aren't paid that much.
Interesting, because there's a reason that we're here to, besides, well, mainly to do our mission, but we found something on the way that we're here to report to the Overseer, and I'm glad that, you're not involved.
Eh?
Well, you'll just have to ask him when you get the chance.
What are you saying that they actually... What are you saying? Like, he did state earlier, the reason why there aren't very many guards here was because it sounded like someone was screaming bloody murder out there somewhere. So he says, what? You telling me there's actually some dead bodies out there?
And, if you'll believe it, like a pack of demon squirrels. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, shit's getting weird out there, man. Just stay safe. All right.
Like he laughs. It's like, what? You're telling me a pack of miners got mauled to death by a couple squirrels? Get the hell out of here.
So Pyre again shakes his head and he says, "The man's a habitual liar. Just take everything with a grain of salt with what he says. Come on, we have a job. No use dilly-dallying."
Get going. And you better not think about stealing anything. Otherwise, we are gonna have some problems here.
You're not the thought police. You are the ones who ensure that we do not steal. Make sure you frisk us when we leave, else it's your fault.
See, right now, I just think Pyre wants to get frisked is the real thing. I really thought he could read our minds for a second. I'll just keep stumbling through.
Alright. No one else has anything? Then you all stumble through a door. Alright. It doesn't take you that long. The corridors are... The corridors are a bit uneven. They're a little bit winding. Like, it's definitely a very rough tunnel. You notice there's like cobwebs. There's all sorts of makeshift. Like, you can see that there are a number of holes and other pothole. Hi, Secret.
Hey, don't mind me. Sorry about that.
You notice that there's a number of potholes and a number of various locations that appear to have been covered up with dirt or boarded up or had a little collapse. Like, this mine does look a little run down in some places. And have any of you ever been mining, or do any of you come from an underground city-state? I don't think any of you do.
In or out of character?
You do. Zakir.
Does Acheron have like caves in their mountains and stuff at all, or?
They likely would have caves, but they would not be using cave systems as their main mode of transportation. They'd be using flying creatures.
Sounds good.
I don't think lizard folk would mind for any particular reason.
You lived in Mermosa, and Mermosa would have been more of sweeping plains plus a night culture, essentially.
So.
Alright, so, Pyre. Pyre, you have spent some time in Zakir. You're not... Actually, roll a history check for me, please.
Okay.
So does anybody want to catch me up while he's doing that?
We came into the mine. Zorg and Ash tried to steal a bunch of crystals. You'd be proud. Zaliel showed restraint and turned to you and was like, "Look, I'm showing real growth. I'm not stealing in front of a guard." Because there was a guard watching us the whole time.
I had Secret shoot a glare to Zaliel twice because he did say that I was
Thank you.
I was going to join them.
I was going to do it anyways, so I appreciate it. Don't mind me, I'm making my dinner while we're I'm getting caught up.
And so then Pyre told the guard to that they both said they put all the stones back, didn't steal any. So Pyre told them to frisk us on the way out. He asked them to frisk us several times on the way out. Zaliel asked the guard just some probing questions if he knew kind of what we saw.
Any of
without
these
telling-
guards suspicious from what we've talked about? Because one set of guards was already sus about
This
these
one's
dead people.
more unknowing. I didn't really incite him because he was kind of answering questions in a certain way.
I would have if I was there.
Um,
Based on any questions, but I'll handle that
yeah,
later.
yeah. It just the way he was answering questions, I was like, I want to insight, but it's not like it'd be hard to insight. You get what I mean? Like it was, he was answering them like as if more clueless than anything. So, but oh well, yeah, could have incited him. Oh well. But then we went into this new room and pretty much where we left off.
Okay, so have we gone into the mine yet? Technically,
Yes.
Yeah, we're like in the
Okay.
mine.
but not very deep.
No, like still close to the entrance. Just got
Okay.
sent to like a room basically that we all stumbled into.
All right.
Gotcha. All right, I think that should be kind of good enough for now. But we haven't really found anything yet at this point. Yeah.
No.
Just a
Okay.
card of unrefined mana crystals. That's about it.
Whoopee. Okay.
All right. So Pyre, you've spent like you're not a builder of caves or caverns, but at the very least, from your experience walking down the corridors of Zakir, you do notice that there aren't nearly as many safety supports to keep the mines safe. It does, walking through here, you do get the impression that this seems to be a big safety hazard. But it hasn't collapsed yet.
Is this possibly... So it's not being worked at the moment, right? I mean at this time of day, but I just mean in general. Is the family working this mine at the moment? Is it a currently working mine? Or is this kind of like, all work on it has been paused due to these potential quote-unquote monsters?
Last shift just barely, well, not even last shift, but they apparently work in different hours. Some of the group that was working left maybe 4 or 5 hours ago to go get some food.
Yeah,
So-
yeah,
People who died.
yeah.
So, whoopee. Okay.
Shit.
Okay.
Oh, and there's like a pack of demon squirrels now that you spawned.
Oh, has that been confirmed?
No.
And no,
no,
this is
not
not
yet.
I assumed it was just the one.
Just kidding.
I mean, I like to eat and fuck. I was just really.
I'm going to
hungry.
assume, Jorah, I haven't had any visions in this place since I came in yet, or anything like that, right?
No. You have used
No, I'm
your
trying to
mark-
force it. I just didn't know if I had a moment before,
Yeah. Basically,
Well, I was going-
if you invoke your Mark of Sarkava, it does make it less likely that you will get these random visions. And you have used it
Okay.
a lot.
Yeah, sorry for being late.
You better be sorry.
Yeah, no, listen, I was only... Long story short, you go to look at one thing and suddenly you're moving, you're
Yeah.
buying, you're closing, or potentially closing on a house and you're moving in later this year. So, whoops!
Wait,
uh,
what? Are you serious? I thought you were working. Like, a new house? Tell me more.
I'll tell you later.
Okay, I'm interested.
But
That's all
yes,
that
I'll tell
matters.
you later, I promise. So this area we're in now, is there a lot of staff at the moment, or is it just us?
You're currently on your way. I was describing the state of the tunnels to get an overview of what this place's
Okay,
status
sorry.
is right now.
I'll shut up now, sorry.
So as you
All right.
described all this stuff, even though I don't know how mines are supposed to be upheld, knowing that we're in a mine, my natural inner lizard is a little worried because I know it's gonna get a little cold and I might start slowing down a good amount. Who wants to cuddle?
Ash baby, I always got you, bro.
No.
Also, I just want to point out, Asher's audio is actually like good today. So yay.
It wasn't. It wasn't earlier.
Oh, it's good now.
Yep. Took some time. But alright. But yeah, Pyre, you do notice that safety standards don't seem to be that great here.
For the House
Yeah.
of Steele, that's weird.
No surprise. I will keep it to myself. There's no need to cause a panic with a group of cats. No offense, cool cat. But I will, politely set the path. I will attempt to take the lead and simply take the more secure paths. And I will pipe up if there is a critical support or a area we should not talk loudly in.
Alright. Pyre moving to the front. Alright.
In my usual spot, kind of like in the middle, back-ish middle.
Back-ish middle. Okay.
Yeah. You get what I mean.
Stefan doesn't like Stefan said last time he didn't want his character in the back, I guess. So I could like switch with Pyre and be the last one as Zaliel.
Okay. So the
Secret's
marching...
okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So current marching order is Pyre, Zorg, Ash, I think... So that would mean it would be Secret, Stefan, and then Zaliel.
Woohoo! I'm chilling with Monica now.
Yep. Although this unfortunately means you cannot cuddle with Ash. Not unless he decides he wants to go back and join you.
Ash, if you get called, get your ass back here, boy. Hey, creepy girl. Love you. Talking to Monica for the creepy girl part.
Hey, creepy guy. Love you too. And she and like she takes a moment, flips through her notes, and then she closes her book and gives the most awkward like double peace signs in the world.
Just writing in her notebook, Asher or Zaliel is a bitch, and then closes the book.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No,
Good.
I can't hear anyone again. Why does it keep doing this?
Rip.
If it makes you feel better, even though you can't hear me, I can hear you, and that's the important thing. Clearly.
I make my way back.
I can
to
hear
the-
everyone now. Sorry about that.
Okay, but basically in case you didn't hear it, what you saw was Monica flipped through her books. It's like, thank you, creepy guy. She flips through her book, intently looks at a page, closes her book, and then she just flashes up 2 peace signs.
As I'm walking up to that,
yeah.
I'm like, what are those?
They basically mean that you're awesome. That's about it.
Something like that. I keep seeing that in the slums. At least it's a sign that friends seem to give to each other.
Oh, you
If
keep seeing
you
it in the
guys-
slums.
Don't mind a short delay. I would like to do a quick-ish ritual before we go too far. It'll last for 10 minutes after I do it. But theoretically, it could open our eyes a little bit.
We waited until we got into the mine to do this.
I mean,
Well, Cool Cat wasn't here to do it, Bones.
I mean, when we see the Overseer, do you want to do it before that, or do you want to do like after that when we get?
I mean,
further
Jar
in?
probably knows what I'm going to do. Detect
Okay.
magic ritual. It's like literally that easy. That simple. Can I just kind of Maybe get that started, Jorah. At the very least.
You can if you want.
Pyre goes to find the guy. He's splitting the party. He doesn't care.
I'll just...
What guy?
Okay.
The Overseer.
Oh.
Alright, so at the very least, Pyre is going to go meet the Overseer. What about the rest of you guys? If you don't answer, I'm going to assume that you're following Pyre.
I'm following Pyre.
To stay with secret.
Okay. Okay, so everyone's going with Pyre. So Cool Cat's Detect Magic will not fire off before you
I'm just
meet
doing the ritual while
Overseer.
we're walking. I'll just be kind of quiet. But I want to kind of, maybe there'll be a good chance to look at him. See if he's being mind controlled. Because if they're going to control somebody with your magic, it might as well be the Overseer.
Chanting is not exactly quiet, so it will be making noise, and it's very obvious that you are, at the very least,
praying.
Praying. Chanting something that could be taken as a prayer due to your class.
Yeah, well, that's all right. We'll let Pyre talk.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
When they ask, just, he's weird. That's all.
No. I'm just going to say you're blessing the mind.
Yeah, as long as they don't know it's Secret Dream, they can think I'm any old fucking willy-nilly priest. Weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I already used this image earlier, but this was the actual image of the Overseer. Not supposed to be Nikolai's image. This is supposed to be the actual image of the Overseer. So...
Maybe they're brothers.
Identical brothers. Maybe I should just copy this picture and then just flip it.
Yeah, just use this dude in all kinds of cities and towns. All kinds of cities. He's just everywhere. He's like Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny.
They're all related, part of the extended family.
You don't know why. They're just all related.
We all work in the House of Steele.
That means you're all sus, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. The Overseer... You can see the Overseer kind of writing something at his desk. And his door is wide open, and he notices you guys beginning to walk up. He closes up some sort of ledger that he had open. Pushes it off to the side, and he welcomes you in. Welcome. Please. Make yourselves at home. Though, I apologize, we only have 2 seats here. So the rest of you are going to have to stand. But how may I help you?
I go and sit on his desk.
While I'm praying and chanting, I just pull him off.
It's like he sees Ash plop his butt onto the chair. He goes, and then Secret, who's very clearly chanting, like, what noises are you making while you chant?
It's probably just kind of prayers rather than like Imude su Domine. It's probably more like a like a chant of like, Father bless this place and blah 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 blah, and it's probably more like it's probably more like a incantation rather than a chant. He's probably praying specific prayers rather than just making noises, if that makes sense.
Okay. But yeah, Ash gets yanked right off the desk. You still have 2 open chairs if anyone wants to call dibs.
Oh, Pyre will stand. He will, however, move. How big are these chairs? Are these Pyre-sized chairs?
No, they're definitely meant for the smaller races, human-sized.
Yeah. He'll simply stand between the chairs and the Overseer, or whatever place fits his size best. I will be speaking, though they will insert their opinions. We have been hired to clean out a portion of the mind and ensure its security. You've had this happen before, yes?
Wait, could you repeat that very last thing you said?
You've had this happen before, yes?
Oh, Yes, we have had trouble before in the past, though my security my security have said that they can't find anything, at least not in the free mines.
Yes, I have noticed that your security is lacking at the moment, and it concerns me somewhat. Unfortunately, our contract is specifically for what's in the mine and what's not outside the mine.
Yes, yes, that is perfectly fine. So, to brief you on the situation, actually, could I have your name? My name's Bradley, Overseer Bradley.
Pyre.
Pyre, Pyre. Good one, a good name. So, the miners have been talking about various oddities that neither I nor my security have spotted. Something about crystals just suddenly exploding, something about hearing some strange noises down in the depths of the mines. But at the very least, neither me nor my guards have seen anything. We think that it's nothing, and it's likely an easy job for you, but if it is anything, be sure to let us know.
Can
Hmm.
Zaliel, real quick, insight check him when he says like that they don't know anything, like they
Okay.
haven't seen it themselves.
Go on.
As I would now plop down in one of the chairs and start studying him. Anyone?
You take. So, in addition to looking at Overseer Bradley, you also take a look at the rest of the room as well. And from a couple visual cues from the wax candle on his desk, from the various, like, spent wax candles around the room, as well as in, like, disposal bins, he probably spends a lot of time up here in particular. And at the very least, he doesn't appear to be lying at all. He doesn't give you any obvious tics, but you might also think that he probably hasn't done a thorough examination if there's this many, like, so many spent candles for just lighting up as he's writing things.
Unfortunately, it falls to you to explain the situation better. We will provide the questions. Firstly, just to verify things, do you have a seal of approval? I heard the cart would be weighted and judged and measured.
Seal of approval. Okay.
Something to
Yep.
indicate your status. A signet ring, something that cannot be forged easily.
Something that cannot be forged easily. You're looking for symbol. Well, I suppose a scroll will have to do. And he opens up his robe. He unfurls a scroll, and the second the whole scroll unfurls, you can see. Hold on. I think.
Explosive rooms, everyone dies!
Surprise, motherfucker! Damn it. Okay.
GG.
You're going to have to bear with me. Looks like I got all the shields for all of the major houses, but I forgot to save them. So you're gonna have to bear with me for just a little bit. Is this one? Nope, that's not steel. Veer. It's wild. I believe that's steel. Yeah, that's steel. Shit. Damn it, I opened up Chrome. but you do see he unfurls the scroll, and you see a little steel design, and it's not just like a flat image on a piece of paper. This thing, the second it's fully unfurled, it it actually it actually animates it. You can see its image be projected just a little bit, and the wings on the shield begin flapping just a little bit.
But is this the Steele's
Whoa.
emblem?
Yes, it is the
Okay.
House of Steele's emblem.
How shiny is it?
I mean, it sparkles. It sparkles a little bit. I guess.
I'm already grabbing my mace to break his hand.
I'm not even reaching for it. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So this is the symbol of the House of Steel.
All right, and this looks official to me.
At the very least, with your limited interactions with the House of Cinders, you've glanced at the official royal seals before, and it looks, as far as you know, it looks like it.
Okay. Glancing down towards the top or the bottom, is his name on here, a signature of any sort that matches who he told us he is?
In this document, you don't see his signature down at the bottom. You see the matriarch's signature down at the bottom, but you do like look at the top. It's like this paper certifies Overseer Bradley Norton.
And is whose handwriting is this NDM? Does it match the transcript? Does it match the person who signed it, or does it match the person who's in front of me in terms of what I can infer from the design and the differences?
So the entire script looks like it's similar to the signature down at the bottom, though you aren't familiar enough with the matriarch of House Steele to really know, like, if this is authentic. At the very least, it looks similar.
Okay. I'll nod, and I'll ask him again what his name is.
Overseer Bradley.
Your full name, if you would.
Bradley Norton.
All right. Nods as if satisfied. All right. Well, Bradley Norton, I believe your job is not necessarily to protect miners, though providing security is definitely an aspect, but to ensure what comes in and out of the mine is controlled, cataloged, and documented. Do you have records of these things?
Records indeed. And he opens up the ledger that he had closed earlier. I indeed do, though I would have to ask how this would pertain to your job if you wish to see it. After all, these are official records, and on more so on a need-to-know basis. I can't be showing them just
On a
any
need
old
to know
mercenary.
basis. All right. Well, what we need to know is if something has been let through that does not fit the norm. You can summarize these things, but due to your position in the office, I would like to see the notifications of the guards and such, the records that have been made. Say, when did this start? The Troubles.
The troubles. Thing is, I forgot exactly how long ago I listed that thing.
Just make it
I'm
up,
going to
DM. I'm
say
not going
that
to catch you.
I'm going to say that it was probably a month ago. It's probably a month ago, and he says the miners complain about a lot of things, and they're very superstitious. If I notified the House of Steel for every little concern that they had, be it a squirrel getting in or a bird getting in, then then the matriarch would have a lot on her plate. But this has been going on for about a month. At least they
All right, that
continue
gives us a
complaining
time
about it.
period. A month and a half is how far I'd like to go back in the records. Either Zaliel or Stefan, you may, whoever's more literate, read through these if necessary, or well, you
Make a
did say on a
persuasion roll.
need-to-know basis.
Yep. If you...
Pyre hasn't quite made his persuasion roll yet. And he will look to the lazy overseer and do the crux of the thing. Unless you would prefer to do the reading, sir.
The reading. Unusual stuff. So, unusual materials that has been sent out to the House of Steele.
We don't need to know amounts, we need to know exceptions, and we need to know things that you thought were not worth reporting. The House of Steele has sent us. There is a problem here. To determine the nature of the problem, we must work from the top down. We must figure out what has come in, has come out, and we must determine what things that may have slipped your notice that we would need to be made aware of should we investigate deeper. You mentioned squirrels and birds. Well, if there's a nest of squirrels eating miners alive, we would need to know about this, wouldn't we? We would need to know the number of squirrels that have entered. Of course, that is an exaggeration, but you get the point. We are doing an investigation. We are not limited by time. We do not need to know the exact quantities nor the exact amounts. We need to know the unusual happenings. Whether there has been a change in production, a change in requirements, a change in shifts, the number of people who have come in and out, so on and so forth. The detail has the devil.
So, miners come and go all the time, workers change, especially with the brigand problem. It's not unusual for mines, not even just this one, but for other mines outside to have brigand problems. I'd say probably around a dozen miners die every single week outside, not inside the mine. So we do have a change in hands quite often. As far as unusual materials, well, we do find various crystals that are related closely to other gods. Then we find crystals, some that are not related to any gods, that are just raw minerals, and then we find crystals that contain magics that could be closely related to another god. And I suppose those are oddities. Though, other than that, there hasn't really been any notable exceptions here and there. Besides ores, crystals, I suppose if you're interested in the various crystals dedicated to the gods, then I could tell you what we have found in that regard.
I wouldn't mind, but I think that would be more curiosity than actual productivity. We will go over these records, you will read them, and you will give us the necessary details. This is not something that will be summarized. However, before we go to that extreme, I did want to ask, you said the controlled mines. Are you saying there are other mines that have access to your mind? Caves, other competing miners, any entrances besides this one?
If you dig deep enough, then you'll find the entire mining network. Currently, we haven't dug deep enough to connect with the other mines. Most mines in the area are owned by the House of Steele.
All right, what are the nearest ones?
The closest ones from here would be about an hour's walk away. And he does, well, do you have a map? I could mark them for you.
Pyre, with a smirk, pulls out a map and lets him mark it.
right.
DM, we can skip past this part, I believe. Essentially, Pyre is looking for identification and the potential chance of them running into each other. Out of character, this feels like a dead end, but it's
I don't necessarily want to skip this yet because I want to know if my detect magic goes off.
Oh, your detect magic will go off. This will be a long conversation.
Yeah.
Because I want to examine. If this is the overseer's office, I want to examine this room with a detect magic eye and see if I see anything.
Okay. We'll finish off Pyre first, and then we'll go back to Secret. So is there anything
Okay.
else you want?
Yes, Pyre, after hearing this information and having his map updated, oh, he loves maps, will again turn back to him and he'll say, "You mentioned problems with criminals, brigadiers? I can't say it out of character.
Brigands.
Brigands. How do you know about these brigands? What reports have you gotten on them? You may
Well, it's a
summarize what
common.
you've told House Steele, but tell me the details."
Well, it's just a common problem around Veer in general. People don't want to live outside the walls of Veer because they're worried they'll be attacked by some bandits or some brigands. The houses apparently try to do what they can, hiring mercenaries to patrol the areas, but well, you can see how effective that is. I've just told the House of Steele that we keep losing miners to brigand attacks every single week. And, well, I wouldn't be surprised if there were more skeletons that turned up.
Why do you know it's brigand attacks?
Due to the reports of the bodies I hear from my security guards. Attacked with
You've never
a bladed
confirmed these
weapon.
yourself?
Well, they do bring back bodies occasionally. I can confirm it there. Though most of the time I am staying here. I have seen the corpses stabbed up, with coin purse missing.
Have you examined their fingers?
Their fingers? No, I haven't done a thorough autopsy. That's far outside of my expertise.
It doesn't need a skilled eye. And next time this happens, see to it you do so. Blood underneath fingernails, gore, flesh, whatever. That indicates self-defense that they're aware of an attack. Look for wounds on the arms. That will also indicate them trying to defend themselves before they were killed by their attacker. Knowing the difference between an ambush and between a negotiation gone wrong may aid you in figuring out how to make this safer.
Finally speaks up, and I'm like, so what's the history with brigand?
The history of brigands. That would be a whole other tangent. The Overseer says, the matter of security, while the matter of security does fall under my purview, I can only do so much with the security I am given. I suppose I can give the miners instructions on how to react if they do meet brigands that ask for their monies or their life. However, the responsibility of keeping the people of Veer safe is not entirely mine. It is of the ruling class. I am doing what I can with what I have, but what I have is not much. At least not much to make a difference.
How much does your average guard make in a year?
In a year.
Or a month, DM? Just a figure.
Or a month. Okay, a month. That would be hard to nail down. With the
What I'm looking for
inflation,
is
I'd probably
copper,
say
silver, gold.
I'd probably say gold, bearing in mind that that gold is a lot more common in this world. I'd probably say that the price you would give out would be about 400 gold pieces, and just from your brief experience with Veer, that's probably a little under middle class in terms of wages.
Yeah, we're being underpaid. All right. What is the average wage of a miner?
Average wage of a miner? Well, if you're talking about only what they get paid in gold, then that would be around 150. Though you also have to bear in mind that we do cover lodging expenses as well as food expenses as well as other basic necessity expenses as well.
All right. I'll ask him if he has anything else he'd like to declare.
Something else he would like to declare. If you'd like to talk to the miners yourselves, they're currently on a lunch break right now, so this would be the best time to catch up with them. If not, you can go directly down to the mines. I'm sure one of them will show you the way.
Where's the lunchroom?
Out into the hall. Take the first left. Take a right, and then go straight from there, and you will be in the lunchroom.
All right. Pyre does kind of like turn to the group. Quick ground rules. No one goes anywhere alone. If you want to go to the lunchroom, Ash, you need to have someone go with you. I believe Secret and I are here. Zaliel and Zorg. Maybe Zorg should go.
I will go with Ash.
Nods.
Yeah, I don't mind joining them. I did want to, I don't know, maybe ask a question or two, Pyre, when you're done. But I guess I'll just sit back and relax, and y'all go ahead. I'll
I'm
lean
just
back in the
about
chair with
done.
my feet up.
Pyre will next simply ask the Overseer what's off limits and what isn't off limits for being examined in the room. And then Pyre will begin an investigation. After that, feel free to go ahead, Zaliel.
Oh, so
He
you're
didn't go anywhere. I'm still in the room. I'm not gonna split the party yet.
okay.
Okay.
Wait, do you
So,
suspect more foul play? Like he
I
sees
suspect everyone. I think he would be the one in the know, and that the records you have may not be complete for the picture put together of what happened. You are the source of information. You are the source of record keeping. I would not go to a miner for a journal or your guards for a personal account unless I found something here to direct me towards them.
I look at Bradley and I tell him, "Yeah, this guy really doesn't trust anybody. Don't take it personal."
and he says,
Are you above personal reproach? No. But if you were in such a position, I believe our lives would be in more danger than yours.
and he pretty much says like anything on the bookshelf you cannot touch, essentially. Like those are essentially confidential House of Steele business ledgers, House of Steele business transactions and letters. They're not for public viewing. They're not for investigative viewing unless through legal avenues, but without the proper paperwork or the proper judge rulings, you cannot have access of those.
He nods. Of course, we are using emergency powers, not official rulings. We were sent here by, and he'll name the noble who sent us here. DM, Pyre is simply doing an investigation. That desk looks tempting. Yes, he's going through it. As for the shelf boundaries were set, Pyre will look at it. He will not touch it. If he notices anything, great. But meanwhile, Pyre is going quiet.
Okay. All right. We're going to go off to secret. Your detect magic would fire off.
All right.
So you do detect just Some small.
It tells me the school, if there is an applicable school as well.
You detect all sorts of magic from this room. Not like everywhere at once, but like in small pockets. You get the impression these are probably just some small crystals, and they are of various schools. You can see evocation, divination, abjuration. Pretty much all the schools are present, though not in like massive quantities, just in small quantities, likely in some odd stones here or there. There's no
Okay.
like overwhelming like big spell that you can detect off that you detect.
So nothing on him, nothing in the desk that I can see so far. Nothing on. I mean, obviously, probably the scroll when it was out. That because it had a,
Yeah,
but
that's
like
a small thing, but
probably like an illusion magic or something.
yeah.
But nothing on the guy. It's himself.
He doesn't seem
Like
to
he
have
doesn't seem to
anything
be
on
under
him.
effect of anything.
No, he
And
doesn't.
he's
seem
not
to
under
be...
any effects. Okay. And the various crystals probably specifically just untapped veins more than anything. Probably from what I can see. Looking at the spots a little bit closer.
A little bit untapped veins, a little bit just seems to be like crystals that you just have on his shelf. Probably
Decorations.
Decorations, or probably stuff like he shows to the matriarch or shows to the House of Steele when they arrive. It's like, hey, we found
Samples.
this. Yeah, samples.
But nothing that it looks like that he'd be like weaponizing, and nothing complex or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, I got this for 10 more minutes. So I guess what I'll also be doing is kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not investigating, but monitoring the party, seeing if they come under any sudden effects that weren't there before.
Okay.
Things like that, just in case somebody else is in the shadows doing stuff to our party that we might not notice. Things like that.
Okay.
Does everybody look normal for now? Or at least how they normally look when I look at them detect magic?
Nothing seems unusual.
Okay. Well, shit. Is the office open? Is there a door?
Yeah, it's wide open. There is a door, and it's been left open.
Okay. Well, it only goes 30 feet, so I probably wouldn't really be able to look out and be like, ah.
I will also mention that technically you are close enough to Monica, and she seems to be emanating a little bit of her book. Her book seems to be emanating a little bit of what is the School of Magic?
You want me to start naming them all that I remember?
I think
Don't say necromancy.
I think it's enchantment. It would be enchantment that seems to be emanating from her book.
Okay, that wouldn't be surprising. Given everything I know about her, I would not be surprised. Okay, so far things are looking pretty, I won't say clean, but pretty normal in this room. So if anything's going on fishy, it's not necessarily magical. Not yet, anyways. Okay. Well, I guess that would be it for me for now then.
All right.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I did have 2 questions for you. His name's Bradley?
Yes.
Was that
Bradley.
Okay, just making sure. All right. Again, I'm terrible with names, guys. I'm sorry. And see, I'll get into that later. Never mind. Bradley, just 2 questions for you. First is, how do you feel about the ruling class of year?
How do I feel about the ruling class of year? How do I feel about my boss?
Yeah. How do you feel about him?
Well, in a sense, they can be admired. Though I'm not sure everyone would agree with that. They are people who were born with nothing or almost nothing, who clawed their way up to the top through business decisions or taking command of various industries. They do. So, I suppose you could say that I look upon them more respectfully than others.
Interesting.
Some of
Sorry,
them
go ahead.
started off in simple positions just like the one I'm currently in. Started off as a worker, got upgraded to management, and then just keep going up from there. So, you could say that I am trying to follow in their footsteps, in a sense. Though if you ask any of the miners out there, I doubt that they would say the same thing.
And why is that?
I'm going to need to think if he would say this outright.
Puppy dog eyes. Do it.
Hmm. And here's the thing, this guy's views did get moved up to Nikolai.
That's okay.
So, if I say his views, then it would be a repeat of what Nikolai had said earlier.
That's fine. It shows character development. Go ahead, he can say it. I'll grip my teeth.
He says, I don't know. I think there needs to be a big change with how things are run or with how things are ruled. I don't know exactly what. Not everyone has the brains or the bronze to move up in the world. I'm thinking, well, for these people, this is all they've known in life. I think they just look at the people in the upper class and just grow envious. But, well, I want to think that any of them are capable of doing what I do, but not all of them are literate. And some of them aren't even capable of basic mathematics. So, I suppose you could say that, in a sense, they are a tad bit ignorant.
I found that ignorance is acceptable, but stupidity is not. And I guess I lied because I'm about to ask you a third question. I apologize. Do you know the difference? I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. I mean this isn't like a playful way, by the way.
I'm inciting everything this guy is saying right now.
Ignorance and stupidity. Do you know the difference between ignorance and stupidity?
It's more playful. I know my tone came across weird there. Sorry, it's like the headache kicking in.
Ignorance and stupidity. Do I know the difference between ignorance and stupidity? Well, all I know is what I know, and I know I could learn a lot more. Same could be said for the workers underneath me. Do I know the difference? Well, when this is all you've known, really, what could you call ignorance? What would you say would cross the line between simple ignorance and outright stupidity? They're so similar, but yes, can be very, very different. And secrets.
Anybody?
This guy, I mean, as far as you know, I mean, This guy doesn't appear to be giving off any obvious cues that he is lying to you.
I didn't think he'd be lying. I'm more wondering if it's more like maybe he has stronger feelings about the subject and he's letting on. So
It
maybe
does seem
more
like he's putting it in a
by
very
omission.
diplomatic way. He's putting it in a very diplomatic way. It could be a bit sneaky. But
Okay.
at the very least, he is making an effort to try not to offend.
Well, I can actually answer my own question for you if you'd like. The difference is a choice. Ignorance normally is just not knowing something, and ignorance can be dangerous. But stupidity, that's my specialty. It's a choice. And that's the difference, is even if you're stupid, you can still be successful. But ignorant, again, dangerous. Because then you don't know really why you're making the decisions you're making. And I just hope that in the future, we can help people be less ignorant. And that way I can enjoy a stupid life.
I think just to make sure I heard it correctly, you said stupidity is the choice and ignorance is the one you're born with. I think he would correct you and say, I think it would be the opposite, my friend. I think stupidity is not a choice. It is something that you're born with, and ignorance, well, you can be willfully ignorant of something, so that is a choice. I would disagree with you on that one, my friend.
And see, you're actually making my point for me. Willful ignorance leads to the stupidity. That's what crossed the line. And while we may disagree on how people are when they first start, I will remind you, how is it that you learn to read and count and do mathematics and things of that nature? It's willpower a little bit, but I'm sure if when you claw your way up and you start trying to grasp further up in the air, sometimes you don't realize how high you go, and then when you get there, the fall hurts all that much more. I just want to, I don't know, I guess I'm just wasting time while everyone else is investigating the room. But I'm just trying to get a sense of if you were worth moving up in the world or not. Because let's say we do incredibly well. Let's say we find things that you weren't willing to look for. And then we move above you. I'm just saying.
That's how the world works.
It's how the world works, right? And would you like us to take you up there to that level with us, or do you want us to leave you down here? Do you want us to give you the resources to protect your workers, or do you just want to keep losing them and losing staff and being stressed out?
Unless you're willing to work for free, I highly doubt I have any means of paying you to continually do your job, and the problems that you would be addressing are far too much for simply six people to address.
You misunderstand. No, I didn't. That's not at all what I was saying. You just were talking about status. When we, because that's what's going to happen, find something down here and rise above you, we can look down on you from our new pedestals, or we can try and talk to the upper class about some of the problems that you were talking to our friend here. You mistake me. I'm not being kind or coddling. I'm probing and testing you. Our friend is more direct. I'm a little more subtle. And let's just say you haven't really impressed me much.
Well, at the moment I am merely a simple bookkeeper. And besides, I really can't tell you, I'm really not the person qualified to tell you about the grievances of the rabble.
That's
How I got to
again.
my position was by asking, by clawing my way up, by taking active interest in my work and the other people around me. I didn't get to my position by drinking my troubles away at a bar or just spending time hanging out with friends or whatnot.
Yes, again, I think you're missing my point here. And that's okay. And see, that's where the line is different. Basically, I was insinuating he's stupid, and then that's about all Zaliel's got. Because what Zaliel was trying to get across out of character was like, if we got above you, like, would you be worth it? Like, would you want us to like actually help you in these things? And he was more concerned about the rabble. So it's like, okay, this guy is not interested in moving up like he says he is kind of what Zaliel felt, and just started kind of making fun of him. It was kind of...
I mean, he's also essentially thinking, like, you're a fucking mercenary.
Yeah.
You are six fucking people. You're gonna rise above me? Pfft, you're full of yourself.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that. I was just trying to explain, just in case I was being
until two of us already point out, we're probably already above you, bitch, but no.
Yeah.
Well, feel free to I was gonna just
No, the whole point
put
of me
shit
is
out
to
there,
not
yeah.
be revealed as secret dream at the moment.
Yes, and that's what I thought.
That's
So
why I have now changed this cloak. Already reversed it like twice on the way here for different people.
Yeah.
But I will look at him and say, earlier you talked about your thoughts on your bosses and things like that, and that some things weren't great. Is there anybody maybe you've heard having stronger opinions, louder opinions than you recently? Somebody who might be disgruntled and be a danger to operations.
If you're talking about the workers, they always moan.
There's bitching and moaning, and then there's being a little loud. Maybe a little too loud. Has anybody been too loud lately? Anybody that's caused you concern?
People who don't... I don't believe so. People who don't fit in, they get fired. People who don't like the work environment, they leave. That or various miners, both good and bad, get caught up with brigands and die. Either way, problems don't tend to stick around that long.
You said crystals randomly explode. Or at least that's what's reported.
Miners say. That's what the miners say.
Ever have mages investigate?
That's what the listing was for now, wasn't it?
Well, yes, but surely you did an internal investigation beforehand. Were they really that baffled?
I asked for the assistance. I asked for the assistance from the House of Steele, and this is what they sent. I don't have my own court of wizards that I can call upon, and I don't have the means to hire my own mercenaries. That is out to the House of Steele.
Fair enough. If I see any crystals explode, I'll be sure to let you know on my way out.
That would be much appreciated.
That's a very... It's usually mana crystals, yes?
So they say, yes. Though, admittedly, that's also something that's not too unusual depending on how unstable they are. But they're making a big enough moaning about it that it's seen that it's probably
more often than usual?
Yes.
Oh, how deep the cave must go.
How deep does the cave go? Well, there are so many tunnels dug down there that you could likely get lost for hours down there. However, just remember one simple rule. When going down the cave, the torches will be on the right side, and always be on the right side. So if you want to head back up to the surface, make sure that they're on the left side.
Good to know.
Very good to know.
I'm gonna look over to Pyre, and in Celestial say, I don't think he's in on it.
Pyre responds, "Of course he isn't. If he was, the guards would have killed us already."
There's magic around the room, but not on him.
Yeah, he's too stupid to really know what to do.
Yeah. DM, I have been investigating during this time period. Has anything popped up?
Something likely would have popped up. While he's been distracted talking with Zaliel in secret, you do happen upon some unfinished letters. And these unfinished letters look like they are complaining about the security guards. Complaining that they seem that... Well, you see a couple complaints. You see workers' complaints, like very, very unrefined writing that's barely legible to you. And then you have his writings, an incomplete letter as well. So the workers' writings, they're complaining that the security guards are lazy and don't do their jobs. That even though he sends security down to the depths to investigate, they are just content to just sit around and start smoking weed. That was until, and the letter that seems to be a little bit more refined, possibly written by Bradley. It also seems to be complaining about the security guards, saying that at times it's like wrangling cats. Sometimes they aren't even here. They claim to be out on patrols, and while I cannot verify whether they are telling the truth or not, they're not very punctual on on clocking in. It's essentially like clocking in, reporting in for the day, and by the end of the day as well. And at the very least,
coming late, leaving early.
Yeah, basically yes. Those are part of his complaints, and another one is that he did personally go down into the mines himself, and he did not see anything unusual down there. Though he also does admit in the writing that he is not the most familiar with the labyrinthine caverns.
All right, so I get these little things. The conversation winds down. I'll nod. I'll say, I think it's time we've moved on. No need to push where there's no need to cause a ruckus. Let's head out.
Just a quick question. Did he say? I think this was a question was already asked. So I'm asking you, Jorah. Did he say who handles hiring the security mercenaries and all that?
Judging from what you can probably infer this, he does not directly state it, but you can probably infer that, like, the House of Steele hired you guys, and he asked the House of Steele for help. He doesn't have his own payroll, so it's likely the House of Steele
is sending the security itself.
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
That's what you can infer, by the way, unless you want to just flat out ask him.
Are we gonna be walking by the mess hall once we leave this room, or is that the opposite direction from where we will be?
We can go to the mess hall. Pyre will pipe up as we leave the room. He just turns around dramatically, pauses for a second, and looks the guy dead in the eyes. I will be rolling insight for this. If you feared for your life, you would tell us, right?
If you feared for your life, you would tell us, right? Well, if there's some ungodly horror down here, then yes, I would rely on you and my security guards to keep me out of trouble.
Let's hope that's the case. Humanity's always the biggest threat. And I'll head on out.
Okay, I'll take it that you won't insight?
Yeah, I will insight.
You will?
Insight
Okay.
crap out of that. +1. That's a 4.
That's a 4. I mean, like, he says in matter of fact, like, I mean, it's your job. It's your job to do this. It's like, it doesn't seem like he's lying, but you don't really get any, like, hidden messages from that. It's like, that's your job, buddy.
Yeah, that's acceptable, DM. Blink twice if you're in danger.
I
Okay.
would insight it out of curiosity because I secret would think that was a very strange question to ask. But that's only if you'll let me, because I know that's also a little meta.
Yeah, I do feel it's a bit meta. You guys have done all your insights. I don't want, like, a dog pile of just insight
Right.
rolls on him.
Get him! One of us is like, I don't trust him. We're all like, we were
That's
right.
fine. Then Secret will get ready to leave the room.
I start
With the
sniffing
others?
the air to see what I can smell.
Death.
You want to smell, so you want to use your sense of smell to smell things, right, Ash?
Because we're headed to the mess hall now, I think.
I'm mostly smelling for food. I mean, like, what
Okay.
they made to eat.
Alright. Zorg, do you have anything to input before we leave?
No.
Alright. If you guys don't mind, I want to push the Zorg to the front on the mess hall.
Go ahead.
That works.
Alright, Zorg. So you guys, well, first off, are you guys all completely done with the Overseer? Okay.
I am.
I believe so.
Yeah, I can't think of
Alright.
anything else.
Zorg, Ash, you do smell food of some sort. Now, this is back in ye olden times. Okay, so you do smell the smell of cooked bread along with, let's see, what would they be given? You smell some cooked bread, the small smell of alcohol on the wind, and what else was cheap back then? I'd probably say dried meat. You smell some sort of cooked meat.
Okay, yeah. Before I barge into the mess hall fully, I turn and look at, who was it that pulled me off of the table last time? Was it Secret?
Yeah.
I look at him and I'm like, can I get something to eat, or is that off the table?
I'd rather you don't for now. It's not you. It's I don't trust this place. I still haven't figured out what Steele is doing here to fuck with these people. And if
We
it's the
don't know.
food,
We don't know when things are coming back. I'd rather he get poisoned than us become the mill.
Fine.
You want him to eat and get poisoned, and keep in mind, I'm likely the one that'll have to deal with it. Are you willing to do that? Because that's resources I would have to use, not healing you.
I never said you had to use it on him. And he'll leave it at that. He'll leave it at that.
If you want to get something to eat, Ash, just be careful. Take a tiny bite first. See how you feel after. If you feel funny, tell me. Okay?
Instead of getting a plate to eat because of how the people around him talked about the place, I'm just gonna look around to see if there's any workers eating and sitting by themselves or in a group. Anywhere there's open space for us.
Okay. I mean, probably not enough space for all 6 of you to sit on one table along with the miners, but there are like some openings, some 2-spot openings for both you, Zorg, and like other pairs of 2s to fit in, with the exception of Pyre, because he's probably big enough to take that spot all to himself.
No problems there.
Yeah. Oh, damn it. This is the problem when you have millions upon millions of pictures you generate and you forget. You think that you have all of them downloaded, and then you realize that no, actually, you forgot to download a couple pictures related to the miners. Okay, so you see several miners in hard hats. Well, you actually do see one familiar face, and that is the kid that you saw earlier. That kid with coal all over his face. No one else would recognize him, but you do, Ash. That is Frankie. Frankie, the little kid, well, adult, the teenager that you had saved with in the last party, the one who had stolen a piece of bread and that you and Kydex had covered for. But yeah, Frankie is sitting
up to him.
on at a table with a couple miners and a young hobgoblin.
Frankie, I see you still have both hands.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Hi, Ash. Well, it's a struggle. It feels like my hands are gonna fall off any day now, but I guess it beats starving every day. Give me a moment to
Have
get...
they been taking care of you?
Oh yeah, I've been able to eat bread every day now, as long as I can get my work done. If you don't eat, you don't work. I mean, Frankie, buddy, I think what you mean is, if you don't work, you don't eat. Ah, you're right, sorry.
And who's your friend?
Who's your friend? Howdy. Name's Boris. Nice to meet ya. Guy with the mustache. Actually, they both have mustaches. The older looking gentleman. My name's Mason. Nice to meet you. And then the hobgoblin. The hobgoblin also speaks up. Name's Droogle. Pleased to meet you.
Pleasure's mine. A handful.
So Ash, what brings you over here to the mine?
Just a job for the House of Steele.
Oh, more mercenary work? Do they have you do they have you mining? Or maybe hauling some minerals out? Or maybe doing something like that? Oh, or maybe you're security now, replacing the security guards we have.
Actually, have y'all seen anything vicious down here in mine? They
The
want us
hobgoblin.
to check them out.
Hobgoblin does speak up. Well, I'm new around here. But I don't like the sounds I hear down there in the mines. Sounds like something moving in the darkness, something burrowing in the dirt. It really puts you on edge down here. Not to mention just the random cackling of lightning from crystals exploding. Do you have anything? Do you have any other questions, or should I move on with the scene?
Yeah. So you're saying you're fairly new around here. How well do you know the mine?
I've been down there. I've been down there once or twice. Though if you really want to know the layout of the mines, you should ask these two old farts over here. Though, I suppose they would be a different breed from the two of us. And the hobgoblin points at Frankie. And he says... And he says... Those two right there, they're prime property of the House of Steele. Basically, they're in this job for the long haul. Me, I'm not interested in breaking my back.
Who was it that said they're not interested in breaking their back?
Droogle, the hobgoblin.
I guess I'll turn and look at Boris and Mason and ask what time their lunch
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm going to assume that you said what time lunch ends. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Actually, lunch hasn't started yet. They're now getting the bread out. They seem to have been cooking bread down here. It looks like they've been cooking using it's not anything that produces smoke. It's not anything like coal or wood down here. It looks like they're using some sort of magical fuel or magical furnace.
Hmm.
But they are rolling out bread loaves slowly to a bunch of the miners out here. This table doesn't currently have any bread on it. You do notice some tankards of alcohol, and you notice that Frankie looks like he's got a tankard of milk.
Okay, well, I guess I'm not going to interrupt y'all's lunch.
No. By all means, join in.
I turn and look at the crew and I'm like, who wants to get a plate with?
I'll get a plate with you.
I have no desire, DM. I'm
Mhm.
I'm observing the room. I'm remaining quiet.
What do we see
Alright,
Secret and
yeah.
Zaliel doing? This will be mainly revolving around Ash
Do
and
I still
Zorg,
have
but
any of my Do I still have any of my detect magic time? Because that lasts 10
yes.
minutes once I cast it. Then that's what I'm doing. Especially at plates and food and people and.
I mean, you just see residual magic from the various veins, as well as some of the crystals, as well as pockets of like little buckets filled with mana crystals lying around. It just takes a glance to identify where all of these things are coming from. If you were expecting some big giveaway demonic sigil, you aren't quite finding it. And the food, you specifically detect nothing from the food.
And the people?
And the people,
Anything on people? More so less any magic items they have and more effects. Although magic items are important, mind you, but also especially effects that might be on them.
they don't. You walk up and down the room, try to get in contact with as many people as possible. You don't. It doesn't seem like any of them have any unique spells affecting them either.
Any security guards in here?
No, actually, there's not any security guards here in the mess hall.
Noted. Won't ask anything. Won't talk to anybody. Not for now.
Okay.
Would I have to walk anywhere to get the beer, or is that something else put in front of?
You just got very quiet, Ash. What do you say?
Would I have to get the meat beer elsewhere, or is that gonna be put in front of?
From the looks of it, there's someone that's handing all of the food out right now. It's probably there's someone handing the food out. Like, if you look like you're about to, you look like you don't know what the procedure is around here, and you look like you're about to get out of your seat. And Mason says, "No. Just sit right there. That guy over there is trying. That guy over there is trying to do a little bit of work to get his bread. He's been sick for the past few days, and if you don't work, you don't eat. So he's trying to do what little work he can to convince the Overseer to give him a piece of bread, and probably to justify keeping him at the job." Us folks like him, well, he's not like us. We've signed on to the House of Veer for life, so they're not getting rid of us anytime soon. But him, he's a free man. And free men who don't work, they're not useful. They get the boot as soon as they can't work.
I'd actually like to walk up to that guy. So I'd like to ask him, what's how long ago did it start?
How long ago did what?
His symptoms start.
Counting today? Counting today, that would be 3 whole days.
Would it
Yeah.
be because of working mines, or do you think something?
Because of working the mines? He says, "Working the mines?" Well, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. But I don't think a little bit of think a little bit of crystal dust. I don't think a little bit of crystal dust would put fluid or put other things in my lung. And he coughs again, and it kind of sounds like he has some sort of pneumonia. It sounds like there's something in his lungs that's more so than just like some dust. Anything else you want to ask?
Nothing I can think of, because from what it's like, low, they hear noise sound like burrowing ground. Nobody's reported seeing anybody. I'm gonna trust their. Huh. Bencher, have you tried going to the doctor?
You think I can afford a doctor? Oh, it hurts to laugh. Buddy, sometimes you just work. Sometimes you work. What the term be? He's essentially gonna say work paycheck to paycheck. That's essentially what he's going to say. I'm not sure how to put it in ye olden terms. Sometimes you barely survive based off. Sometimes you're working just to barely survive.
Well, I guess that's that. Would there be anyone else near us that might sound sick with the same?
There. You do hear a couple coughs here and there, none to the degree of the guy who's serving out food. But just from the coughs alone, you can't gather if those are caused by sickness as well.
My only question before you continue serving food plate.
Did you ask for a plate?
Yeah.
Okay. You are getting quieter again. So, yes, just wait your turn, buddy. We've got plenty of food for everyone, so just sit tight. And, like, he doesn't immediately hand you a plate. He is continuing going from tables to tables, handing out all the foods. But we're going to move the camera back over to Zorg. Zorg, you're at the table with all 4 of those miners. Is there anything you want to say? Anything you think? Anything you want to ask?
I asked them if they've seen anything suspicious going on recently. Out of the usual.
Something unusual? Well, I'm not from around here, so I guess the unusual thing is whatever that brigand problem is. Back in Rivenera, we wouldn't. No hobgoblin nor orc would ever dream of being a brigand. But hey, I guess it's a different place, different culture. If you ask me, that shows poorly on the government. Other than that, well, you've probably heard it from these 2 old farts. Something about burrowing, something about exploding crystals and whatnot.
What do the guards do on their patrols?
Mason laughs. Indeed, that's a good question. What do they do? I swear, you just take a couple steps. All you need to do is just take a couple steps out of the mine and you can see them slacking off in the distance behind some tree, smoking some... Hold on, I have the botany thing. I forget which botany thing it is. I think Veer has its own thing.
That swag. Got that
Stormcrest.
gas, homie.
Veer and Stormcrest. But you can think of it as marijuana. Unless I did make a different thing that was basically marijuana.
I'ma definitely see if I can get me Stormcrest off
Need
the
some
dead
storm
guard.
crest too.
I can't wait to go back outside and kill a guard.
A raging high half ward.
Look, you've already got a whole bunch of magic mushrooms, okay?
They only go so far.
Far.
Is there any toads I can lick? I need to find some DMT.
Well, you better hope you don't find any toads that are based off the Amazon rainforest, because that'll kill you.
As
Start
long as they're
licking
not bright
toads.
and shiny.
Alright. But yeah, he laughs and he says, "What are the guards doing? That's a good question. Because they aren't good for shit."
I heard a few people have
I-
gone missing.
Yeah,
You heard anything?
brigands. Guards come up with bodies once in a while.
Do you know where the bodies usually come from? Is it a specific area?
All along the road from here all the way back to Veer. Though we have had cases of some miners going missing every once in a while here. Most of the time they just up and leave because they're sick of it.
Can I do a perception check to tell if he's telling the truth?
Insight.
Insight.
Yep. I mean, he does sound like he's frustrated with the guards, the current situation. He does sound a little bit emotional, but it doesn't sound like it sounds like it's not something that he would fake, any of the statements he's made already.
Okay. I have no more questions.
All right. And Ash, do you mosey your way back down to the table, or are you going to stand there and go, "No, I want my plate of food before I go"?
I'll just mosey on over to the table and
Alright.
ask one of the two guys if it wouldn't be too much for one of them to go with us as guides to the mine. Since they work for the House of Steele, they could be good on their word for what we maybe accomplish having a witness.
Why don't all of us go? Come on. With some security, we could probably go to some of the deeper parts of the mine. You know, the parts where security don't even want to go. I hear there's plenty of glistening crystals down there.
I turn and look at Frankie and the hobgoblin. I'm like, you might find worth your while.
Well, sorry, I should have been clear. That was Droogle. Droogle, the hobgoblin, was the one who said that. So.
Oh. Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, he suggested all of them go. So, like, Frankie says, well, if it gets food in my belly, then sure. I'll go along with whatever you guys want.
Since they're not wanting to give me a plate, I'll whip out some rations.
Oi, no. As you begin to whip out your rations, the plates do finally arrive to your table. They do kind of look you guys over, and they do ask you, so do you guys work here? Or do you not?
We are here for a job, so you could say yeah.
But are you miners? Because this is miner's bread.
I'm not a miner. I'm 28. What's wrong with you?
It's like he laughs at your little joke, and he goes, "All right, you little shit, for the both of you." And he tosses a loaf of bread your guys' way. Don't let any of this get out, okay? Technically, this is miners only. And I'm sure the Overseer might blow a gasket knowing that we go, hearing if we go just a little bit over our daily, daily ration? Yeah, essentially.
It'll be his worthwhile.
And Drugel, the hobgoblin, he grabs bread, he cracks it open in half, and says, so this is what bread's like around these parts. At least, bread over here in the mines. Looks a bit whiter than I'm used to. As he's busy contemplating, the other miners are basically already eating their bread. What about you two? You've got essentially half a bread between the two of you. It's still one gigantic loaf, unless one of you wants to just take the whole loaf and just eat it and leave the other one with nothing.
I'll give the whole thing to Ishmael.
Okay.
I guess I'll scarf it down.
And this is a massive loaf. This isn't just like a small slice of bread. This is something that's probably what would be a good size measurement? Probably something like, if I had to give you a general width, it's probably about 6 to 8 apples in size.
It's a pretty big loaf.
Yep.
Okay, then I cut it in half and eat only half of it and stick the other half in a bag of holding.
Alright. You bite down into the bread, and you do notice it tastes a little bit different. It tastes a little off. It tastes a little kind of sour in a sense. And you hold on to the portion that you just bit off, and you can taste a little bit of a fizz. Imagine if you ever had pop rock candy. Imagine that is currently on your mouth right now. That's essentially the fizz that you're experiencing. Or I guess you just drank soda and you just left it on your tongue for a little bit. Carbonated water.
Oh, yeah. Feels funny. But
Drugel takes a bite. And he immediately spits it out. What the hell? And he sniffs the bread and he goes, the hell they put in this thing? Dead rats? And the other three miners They just kind of look at him a little confused. And he's like, "What? No, it's bread. Never eaten bread before?" "Oh, I've eaten plenty of bread in my days, though I haven't eaten one as rancid as this. The hell they put in these things?" They just kind of shrug. "Flour. Just flour. No, none of that fancy butter or sugar or any of those additives of other bread." And he looks at the bread and says, that isn't just flour, buddy. Over there in Rivenera, we have some of the plainest meals. And I know a bread that's made purely out of flour from a bread that's made out of whatever the hell's in this thing. Do either of you two have any comments or anything you want to ask? Or would you just want to sit back and watch the scene unfold?
I'm actually just gonna continue chewing as I'm hearing those comments. I'm like, I've had worse.
Damn, I don't have detect poison available. I didn't prepare that today. I didn't think I'd need it for bread.
I have a feeling that it's probably like some of the mana crystals, and I'm just a little worried. My little demon friend's gonna have a few words for me later on. I'm excited.
Okay. Alright. Alright. I didn't want to wait to see if you would bring it up yourself, but now I'm gonna have Drugal bring it up. Ugh. There's obviously something funny in this bread.
May I see
Out of
it?
curiosity, I'll let him finish speaking before you got in. Out of curiosity, none of you would happen to be well versed in alchemical tools of some sort, would you?
Damn it! I still haven't done that. All I got.
You're proficient with it. You're proficient with it. He's taught you, but you haven't had your heart to heart.
All right.
So technically, you both have the proficiency in alchemical tools as well as the alchemical tools themselves, I believe.
Awesome. Well, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and add that to my inventory.
But you ask to see it. He hands the half of his bread over to you, Secret, for you to take a look over.
Because you mentioned mana crystals were mentioned. Any magic on it? On the bread?
No, actually. If it was tainted by mana crystals, it would have something, but no.
Well, I can tell you there's no mana crystals in your bread. There's no magic on it.
Wonder what's making it fizzy then.
I warned you about eating it, didn't I?
And you look over and you see Ash just kind of chewing on another piece.
Just gonna snatch it out of his hand and just be like, "Stop that, you moron! If it tastes bad, why are you still eating it?"
'Cause I've had worse.
It's not about having worse. It's about dying, you moron. You're on my job. I won't have you killing yourself in preventable ways. I am sorry for calling you a moron. So there's no magic on that. I'm gonna open it up, like rip it open.
Okay.
Take a look.
Alright, and I assume, Ash, are you going to start investigating with your alchemy tools? Is that what those rolls were, or were those by accident?
If I rolled, it was by accident because I was trying to
You rolled
click,
3 times.
Yeah.
I was trying to fucking name it. I was right clicking to see if I spelled alchemist tools correctly or whatever I was supposed to put in.
I mean, no, but that's fine.
Alchemist.
Alchemist.
Am I supposed to add
Alchemist.
proficiency?
If
Yeah,
you're
you're
proficient with it.
And change the attribute from strength to query.
Okay, query. That's what I was.
Okay. And that's good.
Modifier 0.
Correct. You don't have any special bonuses.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So Secret, you do tear it apart.
Mhm.
Like Drugel said, this does look whiter than the breads you've seen in the market.
Smell it?
They just didn't cook it through.
No, not that.
You smell it, and you can smell some flour, but you can also smell. Shoot, what did it smell like? So the texture, it does feel a little earthy, and from the smell, it smells. Does it have smell? It smells. Slightly earthy, slightly, I guess, I don't know what better word to put except sour kind of smell.
I'll say, flour doesn't smell like dirt. I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I know that much.
Okay. Ash, do you want to use our alchemical tools?
Yeah.
Alright. So, you're going to use your alchemical tools. What exactly do you want to try to find in this? Do you want to see if there's some sort of mineral? Do you want to see if there's some sort of poison? Do you want to see if, like, what sort of thing? Something biological, something like mineral, something magical, something through other means? What are you trying to find here?
Since I have nature's intuition, how could I use that in this? Like,
So that already gives you proficiency in some extra skills, so that's already done. You've got more proficiencies than other people, unless that didn't get added. Did?
I don't know if I did or not, but
That
I was just thinking if clicking on it or that would cause a roll or something or like.
No. It just
I was
says
just
that you're
wondering what that.
proficient with 2 more skills, basically. I think,
Okay.
and I feel like you should have more than a rogue with 8 skills plus 2 from his racial bonus. I feel like you should have 10. I'll look into that after the game.
Okay, well, the way I was wanting to use my alchemist tools, I was just wanting to see if there was something unnatural in it. I guess,
Unnatural in what way? Like a mineral? Because you will have
well,
different chemicals for different types of things you want to find.
Look for poisons.
yeah, I guess I'll have to go with poison because I mean, like, homie went to see if there was the crystal in it, and there was. So poison would be the only way to go.
Poison. Okay. Make an alchemy tools check using. I'll let you use wisdom.
And I just click on it, or what am I
Yeah.
supposed to?
You click on alchemist tools, and then a box pops out, and then you select wisdom from the list, and then you click submit.
see where y'all said that I clicked a lot now that I'm on roll 20.
Oh geez,
So-
it's gonna be bad when these miners die.
So you're looking for some special poison, something like snake poison or rat poison or other things like compounds that are designed to kill things, essentially. And you take a bread, you thoroughly pour a poison detecting solution all over it, and there's no reaction at all.
Well, that's good at least. Nobody's intentionally poisoning people with conventional poisons.
Drugel.
Do you guys know this
Probably
little
just
about
undercooked.
baking? There are
Drugel,
two options here. They're either using ground up stone dust in their bread, because we are in a mine, or they are using sawdust.
Both are bad.
No,
Oh, then.
no, they're not good at all. But hey, bread is bread.
upon hearing this, Drugel gets up and he goes into the back, and a few moments later you see him pull out a little bag of flour. He pours a little bit out onto the table, and grabs it, and grinds a little bit of it in his fingers. He says, "I think that's it, buddy. I think they put in, let's see, some sort of white stone. Not your typical
this-
run-of-the-mill stone."
But that doesn't make sense.
They're not poisoning it, they're stretching the flour to go further. Essentially, they're cutting
Ad-
corners to feed their miners.
Yes, but
Adulteration.
Frankie, I think I'm gonna have to find you a new place after done.
something about it. Well, I can understand a company cutting corners. This is supposed to be their most profitable venture. Killing your workers means you have to train new ones.
It doesn't kill them, it makes them sick. And even then,
Which
it's
makes
only
them
after
mindless.
prolonged exposure. It doesn't affect everyone. If it's white powder, then I don't know the circumstances. Sawdust has been used before in history books.
So is this
The
gonna
body
give me the
just isn't made to
runs or
process it.
gas or what? How much toilet paper do I need to keep in hand?
I don't think that would be the problem. I mean, this material, you don't know what this material is. If you start experiencing some brain damage later down the line, then you know why.
That's normal. I was dropped when at a young age.
Yeah, so Pyre shrugs and he says, either way, it's not our problem. They've been doing this, so be it. We'll bring it up, but
It's not what we're looking for, admittedly.
we're
This
here
is not the
for the
problem
immediate
you're looking
concern.
for.
And why
No, but
are we... Let me rephrase this. They should be informed about what they're getting into. Yes?
Absolutely. No one told me that they were going to be adulterating our food and feeding us crap.
Well, that's to be expected. Why wouldn't they? They're trying to save money. It's business. This is veneer.
in Celestial, I'll just mutter, this also plays right into the visions.
The problem we face is that I, at least, am here to slay whatever creatures are plaguing this mine, to investigate it and to drive it out. The fact that other adventurers have come here and failed tells me that they have not gone deep enough nor rooted out the problem. Yes, there may be areas you can access, things you can find, but we will not sit here while you mine a wall. Will you find things? Possibly. Can we use your help? Possibly. Will your life be in danger? Much more so the lower we go down. And going back without our aid would be worse than continuing with us. You should know before you commit to a planned course of action. You shared your bread. We've learned a bit more about this place. We have more things. What else have you guys heard that doesn't match the rumors, the things that have patterns? We've talked to the boss, but he stays in his office.
Before before I actually answer that, I did want Drugel to just throw the offhanded mention that there's more to life than money. At least that's what we hobgoblins believe in Rivenera. We don't even feed our slaves this crap.
Can I ask a quick question? More of a world building out of character question. So, because he mentioned slaves, are hobgoblins in this setting typically like most hobgoblins, where they're like militaristic, almost Roman-like,
Yep,
with like a slave
pretty
caste
much.
and things like that? Okay,
To a T.
so it's kind of him being here in itself is kind of weird, isn't it?
Not necessarily. I suppose to go into full detail of this, so hobgoblins, people are very suspicious of hobgoblins due to their god, the god of domination. So there's always the suspicion that they're going to be spying or doing mind control or doing other shenanigans to sow chaos. Hobgoblins do exist in Rivenera, and they do exist in 2 other locations on other sides of the world. They're not necessarily dedicated to Nile, so it's not too unusual to see a hobgoblin, though one from Rivenera might be a bit unusual. They'd probably prefer to stick to Rivenera, but this guy might be like off seeing the world and whatnot, or heard that you can make your
But the
fortune
culture
in
itself, the culture of the hobgoblins itself, stereotypically has always is it still like Roman legion based, where they're very much about like
in Rivenera.
your service to the state and the okay. So in Rivenera is more like the traditional hobgoblins.
Yep. In Haradel and in Vir, they are pretty much the crime lords. Well, they can.
Well, that makes
be
sense.
part
They
of the crime
kind of
lords. Yeah.
right, because they're good at organization as a race. Really, when you think about it, think about their militaries. They're usually so tight knit. At least in most other settings. I guess I can't apply that to yours all the time, but
I don't recognize this hobgoblin, do I?
You've never seen him before.
Okay, so he ain't from my old crew.
Nobody. Okay. But anyway, to... Shoot, what was the question? You asked them if they are fine with basically going down. You've told them dangers, and are they fine going down there with you?
Mhm.
Drugel answers... Hobgoblins are a very hardy lot. About as hardy, if not hardier, than folks like that orc over there.
Let me
You
ask
said
a
you-
better question. Not necessarily what you're willing to do, because you all volunteered before you knew what you're getting into. You said that this food is worse than what you feed slaves. What happened to you to bring you here?
What happened to me?
Yeah, I'm asking. I want to know.
I suppose you could say that I'm sick of living under the thumb of Nile. Over there in Rivenera, it's not uncommon to see war clerics of Nile meddling in the daily affairs or clandestine affairs of the hobgoblins. You never know when their secret town guard is going to bust in through the door and arrest you.
Or when they don't trust the local war bands anymore.
Order is necessary. However, I will argue too much strangles innovation. Where do you stand in that regard?
Could you repeat that question one more time?
Order is necessary, but too much strangles innovation. Where do you stand in that regard?
Where do I stand in that regard? Where do I stand in that regard? Spectrum.
So if I was to give you a structure, DM, this is order versus chaos and innovation versus consistency.
He'd probably say, I don't see how you can't have both order and innovation at the same time. I suppose it's not order to a degree that you're never changing, like Arcus's view on mastery, and not innovation to the degree where nothing ever stays the same. Obviously, there has to be a middle ground between the two. If you ask me...
Well, you're upset with the order. You've left your homeland. You've come here. Again, why? Why do your values line up this way? You tried to escape one thing, you went into another. The grass is always greener on the other side. What have you learned?
Like, there's one thing I want to say, but there's also one thing I don't want to say.
Yeah. Why do you think I'm playing to him, DM?
Repeat the question one more time, and then I'll answer.
So the grass is always greener on the other side. Now that you've come here, you're in this point. What have you learned? What have you learned to bring you here, and what have you learned now that you're here? That'd be a better ways to phrase it.
Veer is, from what I've heard, Veer is a bit of the opposite of Rivenera. It's a world where practically anything can happen. A world that's admittedly a lot more chaotic, but I suppose I'm hoping. What I hoped to find here was, well, a new beginning. A new future that I can control with my own two hands. And sure, just from one glance of how things work around here in Veer, how they treat people like trash and whatnot, it doesn't seem like there's any rules or regulations around this place. Ugh.
Let's say I moved things around. This room right here, right now. I give you a dagger. I tell you, if you kill your friends, I'll give you 10,000 gold. Would you do it?
Give you kill all your friends and give you 10,000 golds.
Specifically, I do not hand him a dagger, DM. This is all metaphorical at
And-
the moment.
And he says,
As he's saying all
course
that,
not.
I grab Frank and pull him close.
of course not. There's more to the world
Because-
than money.
Then what is there? It's not order, it's not freedom, it's not money. It's control. You want to control your own fate, but you can never control it completely. There will always be other factors, other things. Even if you lived alone in the woods, nature itself would eat you. It'd be a matter of time. So what do you want?
What do I want?
If you don't know, there's no shame in that.
I suppose you could say I just want to change. Change in lifestyle. And I guess what type of change? Well, I guess I'm busy figuring that out.
Fair enough. I
like him.
think similar to you. I also like him. This was not a test. It was simply me filling out your character. Should you follow us down and should you come back out with us, I will reconsider your position. This is not a handout, nor is this a pity. This is me offering you an opportunity of a job. Because I see something in you that has been overlooked. See if that's true or not. Friendship is cheap.
I see. Well, I'm interested. Because after this job, after I get paid, I don't think I'll be sticking around these mines anymore.
No one who stays around here stays long.
And he looks at the other guys. What about you guys? Boris and Mason, they just kind of shrug. Well, we've already signed off our lives to them, so we don't really have much of a choice.
What did you pay for your lives? What were you given?
We were given... Well, we're given stable employment. We were given stable employment, given lodging, food, guaranteed days off, given a bunch of benefits. Though, technically they can do whatever they want to us. We don't have it. We don't have many legal protections, though they left that out when we were signing the contract.
So employment, essentially. Well, anyways,
Yep.
Let's continue. As for you, remember, when you sign away freedom, you do get security. That doesn't always mean happiness.
Are you talking to Drugel or are you talking to the miners? Or to Rick?
I am talking to Drugel.
Drugel.
Or, maybe I got his name wrong. I'm talking to the
Yeah.
Hobgoblin.
Yep, the Hobgoblin is Drugel. Drugel, okay. Yeah.
Red boy.
That's entirely the reason why I left Rivenera. I didn't want to be a slave, if not in name.
Everyone's a slave. Everyone serves someone. You're either the king, or you're no one. Depends on how high up the ladder you are and how indisposable you are. It doesn't matter who's in charge, because you will never be in charge. That's the gods' job, and even the gods have their leadership. What matters is that you take what you can and you make it grow. You make it better. Whether you're making yourself better or the people around you better, increasing that is the difference between stupidity and between ignorance.
I love the callback. Love it. Stupidity and ignorance. Alright, alright. Drugel finishes his tankard. He looks all of you over. Stefan isn't here. So... do any of you... okay. Secret. Do you obviously look like you're a spellcaster? Or are you still trying to make yourself look as incognito, something like a rogue, just a generic hood figure? Secret? Maybe you're muted?
I am muted. Sorry.
Okay.
Can you repeat the question one more time? Because now I was sitting there like, why aren't you answering me? And now I don't even remember what it was.
Okay. So I was asking, you're currently incognito right now, and I'm just want to know, are you obviously a spellcaster right now, or are you just trying to make yourself look like just a generic
I mean, he's
commoner?
already looked at the bread and said there was no magic. So it's less that he's hiding that he's a spellcaster, and he's just trying to hide that he's secret dream.
Okay. And he looks at you, Secret, and says, you wouldn't happen to know a little thing about fortune telling, would you?
A bit.
A bit?
Why do you ask?
Well, I've just been thinking. Perhaps I could work for Nathaniel Veer, start a little shipping industry or something like that. Go out at sea.
Nathaniel Veer directly, huh? The guy from the family that this country is named after.
Yeah, I'd imagine he'd be willing to keep useful men. I've done a little bit
I'd
of
also
naval.
imagine he probably wouldn't give you the time of day. He probably already has those roles filled. No offense.
For the moment now, yes. But I do aspire to one day catch his eye.
Interesting goal.
If you have...
What do you hope to get from it? Money? Power? Security?
Money, power, security...
Fame?
All the above.
Well, I suppose all of them. Though I suppose... I would aspire to one day be one of the big powers to rule Veer.
Who doesn't? But maybe another way to think about it. It is good to have dreams. Don't let someone crush that. But in the meantime,
I do like those ambitions.
In the meantime, think about not if you'll sacrifice, but what you'll sacrifice. That is the most important choice you'll make in life. Everyone has to choose it, even the gods.
Make sure what you gain doesn't overrate who you are.
Mm-hmm. Money is something that has grown with wisdom. Ugh. All this is making me sick. Let's do something instead of talk.
Before we leave, Zaliel, I would like to say something to the hobgoblin guy, unless he's coming with us.
I'll let you say something first, but he's gonna be persistent on asking Secret if he can tell his fortune.
Okay. I can wait till after that, then.
How would you like me to try to tell his fortune? Like, looking at the spells I have available, I have augury as a cleric. I don't have it prepared.
So I'd say this is a special circumstance because if you've got the god brand, if you're dedicated to the gods, then you would specialize in that particular field. Like judges who are related to Matilda, the goddess of justice, would have more chances to cast Zone of Truth because that's kind of important their field. So as secret, you have used your Mark of Kava a couple times for very taxing things, but I think I will allow you to use it one more time.
Okay,
Not related
just
to
to
any of your
point
spells.
out, because you say taxing, because I don't want to go too detailed. Fate has its course, and
Yep.
the fun part about being a fortune teller is you give people vague answers that then you then let them interpret how they want, because that's still letting them go about their fate. So what would you like me to roll?
So this will be how clear the vision is. It will be up to you to tell them what you want, and what you said is essentially kind of the official structure of the church as well. Like it's kind of like a doctor where you want to reassure a person, but you don't want to promise them the whole world. You want to tell them that, like, guide them along guide their path along,
Right.
but don't tell them that this future is set in stone and you definitely will get this, and there's nothing that could go wrong in the middle of it.
Right.
So make a wisdom roll. This will be a generic spellcasting roll for you.
All right, 17. No proficiency. Just the stat.
You see Drugel sailing off on a little fishing boat into the Bay of Veer. He catches something in his net, and what he drags up is a fish. The fish crackles with lightning. He slices the fish open, and inside is something that fizzles and crackles with lightning. And he recoils at finding that. He drops it onto the deck of the ship. He goes back. The time skips back to him being in Veer. And he's over at like, it looks like a council of all the families. And he's holding up that little fragment with lightning coming out of it.
Is that fragment what I think it is? I'm
Yes.
sure. I'm gonna look at Pyre and say, in Celestial, and say, we have to change fate. He is a bigger key than I thought.
Out of character, DM. The person who asked for the revelation, was that the Hobgoblin?
Yes.
Yeah.
And his name starts with a G, right?
Drugel. I think a D.
Drugel.
Drugel.
All right. Pyre simply shrugs and he says, toying with the gods too often is not a good idea.
Pyre, you don't understand. I'm pretty sure Dad meant for me to find this man. He finds a fragment.
So we argue back and forth for a little bit, DM.
In
Pyre
Celestial,
looks
of
at
course.
him. He's like, well, are you going to tell him his fate, or are you going to, like, swap it with Ash?
No.
Or
We need him to find it. It's his find. But we need to make sure we keep an eye on him when we find it. What he does with it afterwards has me worried with his ambitions. Because he takes it to the houses. Goodbye. Hello.
Welcome back, Zaliel.
Okay.
I'll
So
look back at...
Pyre considers it, and he says, Fate is flexible. This is a shadow of things that could be, not things that are.
Yes, but it's my job to push him along the way to get a fate that is beneficial to us and my mission. Our mission, in case you forgot. I will do my job in that regard.
Just do not use me as a vessel. And as for him, looks over at a hobgoblin. Maybe he's more useful than I thought he would be.
Convert him to your side. You seem to be good at that.
You think I wasn't?
I'll look over at Drugel and speak common again. You should take up fishing.
That was exactly what I was intending to do, just to start off. You telling me that I'll find my fortune out there?
I think you will. I think that is the place. I don't know if it'll lead you to Mr. Veer himself, but I think you will find fortune out there, and you will find the control of your life that you crave. Your
My
destiny.
question, I'm going to pipe in here. I'm no fortune teller, but you did tell me some things about what would happen. When you have control of your life, when you have this one moment, what are you going to do with it? You have a moment of clarity, a way to move your destiny, accomplish whatever you want. What will it be? How high can you dream? How low will you sink?
How high can I dream?
If he
I
got
have
the
power.
good boat, he shouldn't sink at all.
If I had the power to shape my destiny, if I find my fortune out at sea, well, I suppose it depends on how big that fortune really is. If I do
Let's
find
say
a
it's
big enough
ultimate.
fortune. Ultimate
You
fortune?
will not comprehend it. You're incapable of comprehending it. What will you do with it? It'll be in your hands. What will you do?
Something I'm
Only one
incapable
way to
of
find out.
comprehending. I suppose, well, if it was simply money, then I might just start off my own city-state, something where I'm in control. Though I'm not entirely sure what some unfathomable thing would be. Some unfathomable power, a lost artifact or something.
The problem isn't going to be starting something up on your own. The problem would be, if I tell you too much, it'll alter things.
Do not tell him too much.
Fine.
As I
You will have
At-
choices. You'll need to make decisions, and you need to grow before you make them. You're not ready. There. Is that
But
fair enough, secret?
yes, but if you wish to take control of your life, or at least set down the path, take up fishing.
Take up fishing.
I think it'll be an excellent. He looks like he's thinking of the right word, and then he looks at Drew and says, "Hustle for you."
Hustle.
You seem the type to enjoy the hustle in its own way. I think while you like the control of your life, I think you like the challenge, and you will find your challenge there, as well as the reward for that challenge.
Challenge and the reward for that challenge. If I had the power to change the world, what would I change, in a sense?
Don't think of it in terms of changing the world. Think of it in terms of what will you do with yourself? Do not focus on how your destiny will intertwine with others. That'll happen no matter what. Think about how you will control your destiny. or at the very least, how you'll handle being in control.
Do fortune tellers always speak in such vague, cryptic tones?
Yes, because that's how we see things. I am a simple cleric for the Church of Sorkava. He does not bless much. We are not innovators. Like, our job is to witness and guide, but we can only guide so much. If we controlled everything, it would no longer be fate.
I suppose this is a difficult question, a grand theoretical question, and frankly, I'm not sure if I'm going to find something unfathomable, if I'm going to find some great fortune out there. That is a good question, and I'm not sure how I could react to it.
Think about it. Dwell on it.
In the meantime, we have a job to do. Things to look for.
What irks me is that I liked you before this dice was cast.
He is an outsider to this culture. It is interesting. He's like the rest of us, but not like the miners and the rest of the workers.
Yes, but not best to say that in front of their face. Which Pyre says in front of their face.
Do hobgoblins have their own racial language in this setting?
I believe they do. It might just be the generic, like, goblinoid to encompass all three of them.
But it wouldn't be like Orcish, because that's the other language. One of the other languages I speak is Orcish. No, okay.
Well, if anybody says anything in Primordial, I got you, or Abyssal, I think.
Thanks. I can't. If you find Abyssal speaking miners, we've got other problems. In the meantime, you agreed to help us out, and I'm going to call upon that.
Of course, Mason. You in? Well, I suppose the day couldn't get any worse, knowing that we're being fed shit. Sure. Why the heck not?
So, miners. Yes, I know he just said your name spell. Anyways, miners. If you're owned, then why are you risking yourselves to fulfill a quota that you could do otherwise? Are the other layers tapped dry? I thought these things replace themselves.
They do, but you find a much bigger haul on the lower depths. Besides, this mine has been in operation for some time now. So,
how far are you behind? How much of a haul do you need?
well, that guy, and he points back to the guy who was handing out food earlier. Well, that guy hasn't been able to work for a few days, so I'd say that we're currently down. I would say it was 3 days, so that would be 60 pounds. 60 pounds of crystals, even though we are making up a little bit of the difference.
Huh. Okay. Shortage of hands. Toss in the incidents and the protests. Yeah, that would make sense.
Remember why I'm here.
And Pyre will pat himself down a little bit. I am searching my inventory, DM. Okay. Pyre will look towards the hobgoblin. Again, I cannot remember his name. It starts with a G.
Drugel.
Drugel, thank you. Someone typed that in. You're amazing, DM. I'll look back to Drugel and I'll say, you know how to use a weapon?
Of course. Hobgoblins are born with sword in hand.
I highly doubt that. That's not biological.
Oh, gotta cut your way out of the womb somehow. And I'll hand him, hilt first, my hatchet.
Gotcha. Okay.
This is to defend yourself, not to prove yourself. Something slips past us and threatens the miners. You need to keep yourself alive.
And
Now,
he gives you a silent nod of acknowledgement.
I have the first request then. Do any of you know where the last rumors you heard of crystals exploding? That's where I want to go.
Boris, the oldest one, says, well, they said it was... Well, I think I might be able to show you that. It was somewhere around, well... I know. The other guy's named Mason also, by the way, if you wanted to write that name down too. The other old one. So Boris says it would be down, well, we call it the earthquake layer. That's when the new minerals start pouring in. It's pretty low.
Has there been any interesting... Well, we'll talk while we walk. I'd rather not ask in front of everybody.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and give Frankie. Is Frankie coming with us?
Yep. He's
Okay,
probably
then I'm
still
gonna
in
give
your
him a
hands.
dagger and a hammer.
A dagger and a hammer. And what do you say to him?
Your mom.
Keep him close. And keep your eyes peeled. Can we put him
Alright.
like in the middle so he's protected by all sides? He's just a
Oh,
child.
I'll be in the front.
Yeah, I figured
Right.
the miners are not combatants. We're not going to have them exposed. It would... Because then, you know...
Yeah,
They
but
die.
Frankie's a child compared to everybody else. Like, he's literally a kid.
Yeah. So, you gave him 2 weapons, right?
Yeah,
Pyre will
somewhat.
shake his head and he'll say, yeah, pick one. He'll already have a pickaxe. No need to drag him down too much.
Alright. I'm gonna let him keep the dagger because that's probably a little bit easier to hide instead of the hammer.
Alright. He gives you the hammer back. Alright. The miners all grab their pickaxes. Their pickaxes and their buckets. And they all begin to get ready to head down into the depths of the mine. Alright.
Is there a point where we're walking that we're like, where we can have a small conversation with them out of earshot of the rest of the miners and other staff? Potentially?
You will in a little bit, so before you have your time, like before you have that time, you start headed to the mines, and you see that the mines do have 2 different shafts, peculiarly enough. And you also see a guy who's kind of locked up in a cage that's right in the middle between the 2 different paths.
What did he do?
It's Mason would speak up. Oh, that's simple. He got caught stealing a loaf of bread.
Hmm.
They're
Fair
very
enough.
strict. They're very strict about their rations. So, people who break the rules of this place, they get to sit in that cage for a little bit. Kind of made as an example.
And then fired, I assume.
More than likely, yeah. And
You don't happen to have meat afterwards, do you?
know what?
Ah,
What's
and Pyre simply shakes his head. DM, I was asking if they noticed an increase of, like, say, meat pies after prisoners were removed from the cages
oh,
and freed.
he says like his reaction would probably still be the same. Like, wait, what? And like, but if you want them to respond, do you clarify it the same way?
No, I don't need
Okay.
to panic.
Yeah, they're just going to be confused. Let's see. Boris and Mason Boris and Mason, like they out of gut instinct, they go down the right, and Drugel says, "All right, you two, we're going down this one. Remember, unlike you, we're not owned by Matriarch Steele. So you're going to enjoy the poor man's mine." And he takes you guys down that particular shaft. And now, after walking for a few minutes, it doesn't seem like anyone's nearby. It seems like you guys were probably the first to leave from break, so no one's following behind you. So you've got a chance to ask them.
The two older people were named Boris and Mason, right?
Yep.
All right, so I'll speak up and say, Boris, Mason, you two have been here longest, I assume. I have a question for both of you specifically.
Yeah? What do you want?
Has there been any interesting changes lately? Not necessarily big ones, but, defacement of property, maybe symbols being carved in places or painted in places. Things that some might just assume is gang or brigand activity or something. Anywhere in the mine.
Symbols.
Symbols,
You're looking for symbols.
Yeah, you ever been out in town, you see somebody, I don't know if they would call it graffiti, but he'll say, deface something with something like their gang signs or something.
Well, I suppose some of the outcrops down in the lowest depths look a little unusual. But I'm not sure if that's just some miner carving up the stone or if that's just something else carving it up. Could just be the earthquakes.
Unusual. When you say unusual, you mean not as natural as you've seen rock formations?
No. I suppose I've seen some unusual patches that don't seem like they were formed naturally, no.
If you see any of these patches while we're walking to the place where you've heard about the crystals exploding, please point it out.
All right, you got
We
it.
need to investigate all avenues, after all.
Okay. All right. We are close to time. Do you want to call it here?
I'm good to continue, but it's up to you.
Zaliel says that he's not feeling well, and I think we should wait for Stefan. But
yeah, I can play for like another 10-15 minutes, but my head's kind of throbbing a little bit. The one thing I did want to do is give the Hobgoblin one of my marked cards and just give him Captain Rain's info if he ever needs somebody in beer.
Another do you specify that she's a hobgoblin, or do you just call her Rain?
I would give him the details and say Captain Rain is her name, and could be a beneficial ally for you, especially if you're looking, or if you even find anything in the future, and might need someone who's trustworthy in protection, and But also get back in contact with us, because it seems like now we are invested in each other's future. And I'll give him one of the marked cards and say, just tell her, Nova sent you if you ever need somebody in Veer, Captain Rain.
Much appreciated. He offers his hand out for you to shake.
Definitely shaking that hand.
I turn and look at Boris and Mason, and I ask them if they've seen any strange plants growing about, any herbs or mushrooms, drugs.
Well, any Stormcrest we find gets confiscated by security. They say that's bad for workers' efficiency. But
Oh, so it grows down here.
they can grow down here. No, they're not as potent as, say, the Muse's mushroom, which you know as the magic mushroom. The magic mushrooms happen to grow in places where there is high humidity. And there's also something else known as sailor's mold, but you typically worry about that out at sea. Also, a place with high humidity, but also other circumstances. But down here,
Alright.
yeah, you can find some Stormcrests.
Thank you.
Just warning you,
Not the-
if security frisks you, they might confiscate it.
I'll just smoke it before we get out of here.
Not the happiest of situations, but have you folks heard anything about nightmares recently among the staff?
Nightmares. Nightmares.
Waking or asleep?
I suppose... Nightmares? I suppose I have been having some funny dreams. You had them too, haven't you, Mason? Yeah? Well... I've been having this weird dream of mercenaries coming down, of a whole bunch of mercenaries surrounding all of us miners and, well, killing us all. Kinda feels oppressive sometimes, dealing with this useless security.
Do
But
you
lately,
know?
we've been having those
Yeah?
dreams a lot.
Do you know what causes them? I'm not talking about in the dream. Do they give any reason for doing it? Do they show any emotion?
Well, something like, we should know our place. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
They just want... they just want to make it known that they're of a higher class than us.
Keep in mind, dreams are just dreams sometimes.
No, but dreams shared between individuals is common. Sometimes the
And
subconscious picks up on things the conscious doesn't. That's all. I'm not saying it's evidence, it's simply threads leading to a point.
All right. Okay. So, are you guys going to maintain your previous marching order? And is Pyre still going to lead the way since the mines still look dangerous?
Frankly, Pyre's more experienced underground, so he'll take that responsibility.
Okay.
Unless we have a minor guide and Zorg wants to accompany them, in which case he'll relent.
No, I'm good.
Okay, yeah.
He's probably, like, he'll probably tag along. Well, he can probably either give directions from the center of the group where it's more secure, or he can tag along at the front as well.
Until we find someone with better armor class. Pyre will either be in the front or the back. It's simply his party role. So in the front this time, that's all.
Okay. Alright. Are you going to be changing?
Pyre,
Stay in the
because your
back.
name is Pyre. How much body heat do you normally give off as well? Just wondering.
Yeah. Let's see. Can you see heat vision, or are you simply talking about touch?
Bro, it'd be awesome if I could see heat vision. I'm just wondering because lizard folk are like cold-blooded, and we are underground. I would need to kind of stay near some like heat, depending on how well or how much heat the
So,
torches give off. I might be good, but if
I wouldn't say that Pyre is radiating heat. However, I don't believe you've touched Pyre, so you wouldn't know his body heat. That's why I'm going to hold.
I think he was asking you in character.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was out of character.
wouldn't matter. Either way, it's still pretty much the same outcome.
Well, in character, Pyre would have a different response from Bones.
We'll just say it was out of character, and
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I won't cuddle that ass just yet.
Oh, you will not cuddle this. Chiseled perfection. Oh, my heart.
Fine, where's Monica? JK.
She's like the waifu pillow.
Stefan says hands off. Don't even think about it, creep.
It'll be a new experience. It's a whole new world. Yeah, okay. I think this is a good point to close off.
Alright.
That works.
Definitely is. It's all interesting. A lot of stuff is happening.
Do we know if Stefan will be here next session, or is he like...
We'll have to see if he gets better. If he does get better, then he will. If not, then he'll be out for another week.
Good session.
Yeah, it was a good session.
Yep. Slowly trucking along.